I think we can get started. Thank you for the welcome music. Hanak and Canalia, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Hello, bonjour, hola, assalamu alaikum. Habari, if you're in East Africa. So hello in a few languages. We're coming from all over the world today. Welcome to today's webinar titled Digitalization and AI artificial intelligence in higher education from strategy to practice, with highlights on an exploratory study by UNESCO ICPA and UNESCO ICHEI. So today we'll be going through a couple of quick, by the way, sorry, my name is Marianne Dreyes-Sheka, and I work for UNESCO ICPA. Now I'm going to give a brief introduction on what the webinar series is all about before I hand it over to our opening speaker. This is the 10th webinar in the Africa Teachers Webinar Series, which we launched last year, and which builds on previous learning series on teachers' issues in Africa. And this series focuses on improving education in Africa, the potential of digital skills and AI. So we'll be focusing for a few sessions on digital skills and AI, and we'll be highlighting the progress and challenges faced by African higher educational institutions in implementing digital progress and AI strategies. This Africa Teachers Webinar Series is co-sponsored by the Africa Federation of Teaching Regulatory Authorities, AFTRA, the African Union, the European Union's Regional Teachers Initiative for Africa, the EURTIA, and a Global Partnership for Education's Knowledge and Innovation Exchange, that's KIX program, which is a joint initiative by the Global Partnership for Education and the International Development and Research Center of Canada. This Africa Teachers Webinar Series is organized by UNESCO's International Institute for Capacity Building in Africa, which leads the GPE KIX Africa 19 Hub and is a partner with the EURTIA and with many other partners. This fourth set of webinars on digital skills and AI in Africa is supported in part by the International Center for Higher Education and Innovation, the ICHEI, under the auspices of UNESCO. That's the UNESCO ICHEI, and the UNESCO Institute for Information Technologies and Education. That's UNESCO IITE. It's our hope through this webinar today and through this broader, this unit on the improving education in Africa through digital skills and AI, and through the broader teachers series, that you come ready to learn, ready to listen, and ready to share and engage in discussion on the progress that African institutions and universities and schools are experiencing and are generating, and the challenges that still linger. This is going to be an open discussion, so please feel free to use the chat box to leave a question, to leave a comment. We will have a Q&A session a little bit later in the session today. And the recordings and the PowerPoint were made available after the session today, and we will share those links with you on an email very soon. And remember that interpretation is available in 3 languages today. You can listen in English, you can listen in French, you can listen in Portuguese. So on the screen is an icon for how to access the interpretation. You can click on the lower right-hand side. Now, I would like to turn it over today for opening remarks to Ms. Xian Bi, the Deputy Director of UNESCO ICHEI. Over to you, please.
Oh, thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, partners, and friends, on behalf of UNESCO ICHE, it is my great pleasure to join you today for this important webinar on digitalization and artificial intelligence in higher education. UNESCO ICHE is a Category 2 center. We are based in Shenzhen, China, dedicated to leveraging new technology, especially ICT and AI, to advancing higher education digital transformation. So I would like to begin by expressing our sincere appreciation to UNESCO ICPA, to Dr. Quentin and its great team for this collaboration that made this joint study a success. We would also like to extend our sincere thanks to all authors and experts from universities and institutions across Africa who generously shared their experiences and insights in this report. So globally, higher education is entering an important and critical phase of digital transformation. Digital technologies and AI are reshaping how knowledge is created, delivered, accessed, and governed. Institutions worldwide are rethinking pedagogy, institutional strategy, research ecosystems, and governance models in response to the rapid technological advancement. For Africa, digital transformation offers substantial potential while also requiring a careful alignment of policy, infrastructure, and institutional capacity. So it is within this context that UNESCO Aichi and UNESCO ICBA jointly undertook this joint study. Over the past 3 years, UNESCO Aichi, in collaboration with partners worldwide, have published 9 regional report studies on the digital transformation of higher education across different parts of the world. So these Africa-focused reports forms an integral part of the global research series of UNESCO Aichi in collaboration with UNESCO system. So this study is also embedded within the broader framework of IIOE. The full name is International Institute of Online Education, which is UNESCO Aichi's flagship project worldwide. So IIOE not only provide open capacity building resources for higher education teachers and management staff in digital and applied AI competencies, but IIOE also serves as a global alliance connecting higher education institutions and TVET institutions across regions. As of today, IIOE has a network of over 160 higher education institutions and TVET institutions across 46 countries, working very closely with the global UNESCO system, and also have 40 enterprise partners. Collectively, we are advancing innovation and collaboration in higher education for the digital era. So today's discussion is therefore not only about sharing and understanding the findings of this report. It's also about translating the knowledge and research outcome into practice. So it is also about equipping higher education institutions, TVET institutions, and also the teaching personnel and the management staff with tools to navigate transformation with clarity, confidence, and shared purpose. So therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to encourage all participants today to actively engage in today's dialogue and discussions. And also, I would also like to seize this opportunity to invite you and your representing institutions and organizations to join IIOE Global Alliance. So let us join forces to achieve a shared prosperity and development in higher education. And thank you very much. And I wish you all a very fruitful webinar today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. B, for your blessing and for the encouragement to join the Global Alliance. I'd like to now call on Dr. Quinton Woden. He's our director of UNESCO ICBA to give the opening presentation. Over to you, Quinton.
Thank you, Marianne, and thank you, Dr. Shaoanbi. I probably mispronounced your name. And thank you for the support that UNESCO Aichi provided for this study. So the study is available online, and we are going to put the link for you to access it in the chat. What I would like to do as the opening presentation is share a few insights from the first part of the study, which relies in part on surveys we did of practice, if you will, regarding digitalization and the use of AI in higher education. What's actually the most interesting part of the study is the case studies. We have a dozen, and we couldn't have everybody present their case study today. So we will have 4 presenters, 2 women, 2 men, who are going to share some of what they worked on, but you have all of the case studies available in the document itself. So in terms of context, for us at ICBA, we work on Africa, on issues related to teacher professional development, including at the higher education level. And we work very closely with the African Union. This first slide that you see, for those who are not aware of it, is the framework for the new continental education strategy for Africa that was adopted last year by the African Union and actually starts this year for the next 10 years. There is quite a bit of emphasis on higher education. That's one of the key strategic areas of focus. of the new African Union strategy, or CESA, and there is also quite a bit of emphasis on the issue of digital skills and digitalization. Now, the CESA is a very broad document that has to cover all of the education sector in a wide range of countries that are very diverse. So it cannot go in depth in any specific topic. And one of our hope following this study will be to actually provide some more specific guidance for member states on how they can make progress in digitalization and AI in higher education and also in basic education. So the next slide is about some of the results that we have from one of 12 surveys we did as part of CESA to prepare the new strategy together with the African Union. One of the questions we asked in the higher ed survey was whether some constraints were more important than others for digitalization and the use of AI in higher education. And people, can you keep the previous slide, please? People could answer from a level of 1 to 5. Can we go back to the previous slide? I don't know who is managing the slides. Thank you. No, not that one. the next one. So what you see here is that many areas are considered as constraints, but the lack of funding and the lack of infrastructure in the CESA survey were very high as constraints, as well as unsatisfactory remuneration or incentives for instructors at the university level to use AI, and the lack of professional development. What you have on the slide is data for French-speaking respondents and English-speaking respondents, and the data are very similar. Now, we also did a survey as part of the study with ICHI, and there the lack of infrastructure appeared even stronger as a reason for the lack of use of AI and digitalization. We can go to the next slide. Of course, you cannot read all of the slides in details, but all of that is available in the study. Now, when we look at where we stand, what we see is actually in many areas a bit of a difference between Anglophone and Francophone countries. This is a slide from the ICHI survey. We call it the ICHI survey because it is for this study with ICHI, where we see the kind of services that are available, especially for students online across all respondents. And apart from registration, you can see we have to find a way to keep, thank you. So you can see that for many services, the level of digitalization at universities is still very low. Only for registration is it higher in the Francophone part. The next slide is about the constraints for the use of AI. And again, you won't be able to read all of this, and I have to go very quickly. But many of the previous constraints, lack of infrastructure, come up strongly, but also things like a lack of specialists in AI in Africa to integrate AI in higher education, and also very serious concerns about ethical aspects, legal aspects. So you can see that on a range from 1 to 4, there is quite a bit of consensus that most of those dimensions remain today as major constraints. The next slide, then. The next slide, please. Thank you. Looks at another way of taking a cut at what is available today online. That's a scale of 1 to 4. I mean, without going into the details, you can see that again, most universities are at the very beginning, or even digitalizing, not to talk about the use of AI. One means that basically the universities has not done much at all. 2 is a bit better, 4 is the best. When we look at student skills, we also have to recognize that students do not necessarily have the skills that they need, right? I mean, we don't expect all of the students to be coding and programming. Actually, with AI, this is much more easy today, but even to do online research, multimedia skills, for all of those types of skills, the appreciation by the respondents to the survey of the student skills is fairly limited. We can go now to the next slide. The support to students and the support to faculty, it has jumped again, but you will have all of that in the study itself, and I'll put the link. The support that the universities provide in various areas remains also very limited. Typically, about half of the universities or less provide support, whether it is to students or to faculty in various areas. Now, the next slide is a brief outline of what the study provides in terms of case studies. And what I find really wonderful about those case studies is the fact that there's a lot of innovation happening, right? I mean, the survey that you saw before, the results are not too encouraging. There are lots of constraints to digitalization. There are lots of constraints to the use of AI. Faculty as well as students get fairly limited support from universities in those areas, even though support is increasing. But what those 12 case studies suggest is that there are incredible innovations that we can learn from, right? I mean, some of these universities are completely virtual, like the Université Virtuelle de Côte d'Ivoire, and attracting a large number of students, right? Other universities have very, very interesting blended learning approaches. So we cannot today go in all of these case studies, but we are going to have four. One from the Pan-African University, which is across 4 countries in Africa, one from Botswana, one from Namibia, and then we are going to have one from work that was done on the attitude of teachers regarding AI from South Africa. So my last slide, I think, is the next one. And this is to just convey a message that we got from one of the winners of the African Union Award for Best Teacher. So it's called the African Union Continental Best Teacher Award. This is an award winner from 2023, Miss Adeola Adefemi from Nigeria. And when asked what would she have changed in her outstanding career as a teacher, you can read the quote. What she said is that if I could reflect on my teaching career and make one change, it would be to adapt and integrate technology into my teaching methods earlier. Embracing educational technology can enhance the learning experience for students, engage students on different levels, and better prepare them for the digital world. We fully agree on that. And actually, I have just one more slide, the last one, which is just to tell you what we are doing at UNESCO IGBA, and we will be happy to answer any question on this in the Q&A. So we do quite a bit of research to inform policy dialogue, and that informs our capacity enhancement. And specifically, that's the next slide, for issues related to digital skills, what we would like to do is to provide tools that you can use for assessing digital skills of students, of teachers. We also would like to help the African Union, especially in work that they are doing on digital skills policy framework for teachers. We have an e-learning platform where we are increasing the number of e-learning courses that is asynchronous self-paced learning that students or teachers can take, and of course anybody else. And one of the projects we have with the Pan-African University is about that, with about 50 universities. And then we have pilot projects in several countries to try to strengthen all this area, for example, to strengthen the digital infrastructure of teacher training institutions and also the options that they have for online learning. So let me close here. Thank you. you.
Yes, thank you so much, Quentin. Thank you so much, Dr. Woden. I hope you can all hear me. I wonder if my technology is hiccuping or not. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank
Yes,
you. I
you
had
are.
a little lag. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Quentin Woden, for the overview, the high-level overview of the study. And when we are able to share the slides, I think people might even have more questions about some of what you've alluded to today. Thank you for that. It's now my pleasure to introduce Professor Bolanle Akeredula Ale of the Pan-African University. She's going to give us an overview of the work. So please, over to you, Professor.
Thank you very much, Marian. Distinguished colleagues, it is a pleasure and privilege to contribute to this discussion on Africa Teachers webinar series. Is somebody going to share my, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
You have 12 minutes, Professor.
Okay. My focus today is on how the PAU, through our Pan-African virtual e-university, is transforming access to higher education across Africa. And once again, my name is Bolanle Akeredolu Ale, and I thank the UNESCO IGBA for the contributions for this collaboration and for the opportunity to engage and involve the Pan-African University. Next slide. The Pan-African University has a flagship project of the African Union, which is the Pan-African Virtual and E-University. And this e-university was created as the digital arm of the Pan-African University. As we are aware, the Pan-African University was established by the African Union. And the PAVU, as we call it here in Pan-African University, is related to the African Union's Agenda 2063 and CESA 2026, which emphasize inclusiveness, accessibility, and quality education. And this was established primarily and mainly to expand access to, as I said, quality education, relevance in higher education, and inclusiveness through digital innovations and technologies. And this is in response to Africa's growing demand for flexible and equitable learning pathways. We all are seeing the trend in Africa now, and one of the strengths in Africa is the number of youth, the population of youth in Africa. And this, our PAVU, the Pan-African Virtual E-University, was established basically on 4 pillars, which I had mentioned earlier: accessibility, quality, innovation, and partnership. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is to strengthen the 4 institutes that we have under the Pan-African University. Under the Pan-African University, we have our institute in the North African region, hosted by the Tlemcen University. And this institute is concentrating on water and environmental sciences. We have one in Central Africa, which is here in Yaoundé, where I am, and it's being hosted by University of Yaoundé too. And it's concentrating on social sciences, governance, and humanities. In Western region of Africa, we have University of Ibadan, the oldest university in Nigeria, hosting our University of life and earth sciences. And in Nairobi, Kenya, we have an institute which concentrates on science, technology, and innovation. And this is being hosted by the University of Jomo Kenyatta University. The PAVU is actually to complement this thematic institute of PAU. We have a fifth one, which we hope will come on board very soon in South Africa for space sciences. We are looking forward to having it take off. And as the virtual campus, it connects all the institutes across Africa. It focuses on cross-border learning, leveraging AU's digital infrastructure. And it transforms and promotes professional development. Next slide, please. Again, since 2019, when PAVU was created or launched by African Union to democratize access to higher education through online and mobile learning in Africa, we have had a series of collaborations with other partners to launch some courses. And we started in 2019 with 2 courses. The first one was a cloud and virtualization course, which we had about 753 learners enrolling. And then the second one was in collaboration with UNESCO, Media and Information Literacy, which had about 775 learners. Next slide, please. Apart from these 2 early courses, we had collaborated also with UNESCO to host the Pan-African Health Information Resources and Training Partnership. And this initiative offered an online capacity building and training program on media information literacy in pandemics using the COVID-19 as a case study. It was a 6-month certified program built on the following 3 courses. 1, online fact-checking course co-developed and delivered by Africa Check. 2, health science communication module and effective media reporting on underlying precursors to COVID-19. And this was co-developed and delivered by ISA Afri Center. And then the third one, media and information literacy course, co-developed with UNESCO. This initiative strengthened public health communication and digital literacy among media professionals and students across Africa. The next slide. Yes, thank you. Apart from those ones that I mentioned, we have had the African Union Commission on Energy and Infrastructure. We've had Empowered Africa to leverage digitalization by addressing various aspects of broadband demand and supply in Africa, and enhancing the internet governance capacity of AU member states. We've had an initiative which was backed by the EU funded Pan-African program. And this course on internet governance was developed to help policymakers and stakeholders to navigate digital transformation and broadband policies. This initiative, this program, was hosted by our Institute for Governance, Humanities, and Social Sciences in Cameroon. Next slide. The fourth program that was undertaken by the PAVU was an entrepreneurship course with UNOSSC. This online entrepreneurship course was developed in conjunction with United Nations Office for South Cooperation for promoting self-employment, business creation, and innovation. Currently, we have two programs on the PAVU. The one, professional development for primary and secondary school teachers. At this point, I must point out that from the courses we offer courses at the master's and postgraduate level, master's and PhD levels. We don't have courses at undergraduate levels at our institute, and we don't have courses in education per se. But as our community contribution, we join other partners to have programs and courses in education. And that's why on our PAVU, we have a professional development course for primary and secondary school teachers. It's just started, it's ongoing. And then we have this collaboration with the UNESCO ICBA on empowering female teachers and school leaders in crisis situations via mobile learning. And this is also ongoing. Looking forward for 2025 to 2026, we hope that we would be able very soon to put all our master's program across our 4 PAU institutes to online, so that by 2028, we would be able to graduate at least 2,400 students instead of the current 400, 500 students we have annually. We are also hoping that we will be able to develop new online programs, and these programs will involve AI, climate innovation, mini-grid systems, and towards the Agenda 2063. Already in our institute in Nairobi, at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, that's our Institute for Science, Technology and Innovation, PAUSTI. We have already started the program on AI. And we also hope that we'll be able to strengthen and get more partnership like the one we have with UNESCO ICBA, with partners like AFDB and others. And the idea is so that we'll be able to continue to build a continental platform for inclusiveness, scalability, and future-ready higher education. Next slide. So far, the impact and reach. PAU, as the Pan-African University, and PAVU, as we are all aware, has a coverage of the whole of Africa, and our courses are in English and French for now. But we're hoping that we'll be able to move on to having courses in other languages that are being used by the African Union. So far, beneficiaries of the Pan-African University are students, teachers, school leaders, professionals, and policy practitioners. And then we are happy to be able to contribute to access to higher education and continuing education in Africa. We are happy that we are providing opportunities for professional development. Like I explained earlier, we don't have courses in education in any of our institutes, but we have partnered with other bodies so that we can give professional development courses on our e-university platform. And then we are happy that we are strengthening institutional resilience through technology with the establishment of the Pan-African Virtual E-University. Of course, there are
Sir,
challenges.
you just have 1 minute left. So sorry to interrupt.
Then I'll just like to talk about the opportunities that we have at PAU and PAVU. We are able to develop AU accredited online degree programs. We have, like I mentioned earlier, strengthening research and innovation networks. We are working with other partners to be able to provide professional development courses. And here in PAVU and in the PAU, we are building the future of higher education in Africa, a continental platform for inclusiveness, scalability, and future-ready higher education. Once again, I would like to thank the UNESCO ICPA for this opportunity and for the collaboration that we have with the UNESCO ICPA. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Akeredolu and Ale. Thank you very much for the overview in the interdisciplinary approach of the Pan-African University towards education, systems resilience, and the future. So thank you very much for that. And I think that we have some questions coming in now in the chat box. I do see a few questions. Please do, participants, ask questions. We hope to open up the floor after the speakers to address your questions and your ideas. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Maurice Nkusi of the Namibia University of Science and Technology. Over to you, Professor.
Thank you, Marianne, for the opportunity to present. Actually, I'm going to talk about how my university actually is putting in place the AI ecosystem to support students, academics, and the other professionals working at our university. My name is Maurice Nkusi. I'm from the Namibia University of Science and Technology. Okay, next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. Yeah, so you know that actually what is happening, there is the traditional way of facilitating learning that our professors are doing, using that method for so many years. And sometimes changing is not easy to go away from your comfort zone. And there is now the new technologies that are coming in that the students have embraced very quickly than the academics. And you realize now there is a kind of conflict. So in the traditional way, you realize that the learning is most of the time passive because you have a professor who is giving the information and the very limited engagement. Sometimes the time in class is not enough, is 1 hour. And I'm not saying that 1 hour is not enough, but it happens. So there is also a kind of standardized delivery. So making some nuances in terms of the need of the students sometimes in a traditional model is not easy. Now we have the technology, especially AI that comes, that provides a lot of flexibility. So that's what I'm going to talk about. We have active discovery pathways so students can take other ways to learn that sometimes are different to what we are proposing them. So AI is revolutionizing education from teacher-student role, which is transformed into teacher. AI is in the middle, is the middleman, and then you have the student. So they can meet somewhere in order to do what they're supposed to be doing together. Next page. Next slide, please. Hello?
Are you able to see
Okay.
the slide?
No, I can see the slide now.
Okay.
Now, there is a big challenge when you observe what is happening in the classroom. There is the normal Bloom taxonomy progression starting from the lower order thinking and moving to the higher order thinking, which is creation. But with our students, since they have access to the AI systems, then while the lecturer is busy teaching, starting with the foundation, the students are already on their creation. And sometimes they feel like they are not interested in what the lecturer is actually being teaching. So this is a big challenge today. That's why we decided really to come up with a strategy to train students on what AI is all about. AI is not something that will do something for them, but is something that will accompany them in the learning process. So you realize that with student reality, Bloom taxonomy progression for them, they look at it like it's starting with creation. Why? Because they have a tool that can create immediately something even before they can get the foundation. And this is a very, very high risk. So here we are saying students become less critical thinkers. Why? Because the tool is doing most of the things for them and they lose the independent reasoning abilities. Okay, next slide. So a lot of things is happening actually at our university because AI is providing to academic staff to explore things that they were not able to do in the past. For some examples I can give here, they are trying not to teach in class by lecturing, which is a lower order thinking approach. So they try to create what we call interactive lessons. They create interactive lessons and where the system will be explaining using voice because AI is providing that. And they provide also activities that will help students actually to move quickly and to understand the resources that they are receiving. We are going even beyond by developing what we call three-dimensional models for simulation, especially for STEM education, and our university is actually more STEM university than other kind of specialization. Please go to the next slide. Now, here we need to talk a little bit about the AI competencies framework. So in a traditional way, we know that when you engage students in learning, you give them information. That's what you start giving them. So the student acquire the information. And this is more in terms of AI perspective, is a human-centered mindset. So through the acquire process of receiving the information, students have access to AI and they can get the information. And students are trained also to use AI effectively. So once they have that information, they have to deepen it to align it to the perspective, to the environment, to the community, so they can start developing solutions to the problems at hand. So here we have AI that is going to contribute to the pedagogy, that is going to help students to implement the authentic learning and the applied understanding from the information they receive. So at the end of the day, and this is about the constructivism, students will start now creating solutions. And the AI is helping them to do that or to guide them to go through the process of developing solutions, because we are saying that AI actually is a learning partner for the students. So the framework, there is a framework that we call Bright, and there are quite a number of frameworks that help students, help also lecturers to develop effective and meaningful prompts that will help AI to provide them with the feedback that they are looking for. So we have actually 6 items in the Bright frameworks, but we have quite a number of frameworks that support to develop effective prompts. So teaching standards in this perspective, we are using what we call backward design, and this is helping lecturers to develop very, very powerful materials for the students. And sometimes they engage students also to develop with them that information, since students have access to powerful tools that also provide information on how to design curriculum. So the accessibility is very important, but some students actually have a problem to access internet because they're in a region where internet is a challenge. So we are creating offline materials that we provide to the students, and the online materials look exactly the same like the one we provided online. Next slide. Okay, now this is the methods that we are using actually, and is very effective. The lecturer develop the materials, record the materials, and they provide to the student beforehand, before to meet in class for a specific lecture. So when student comes, the lecturer is not going to teach because the information has been given already, especially through the recording lectures. So when the student comes in class, actually it will be now to engage them in the higher order thinking. And all of this is really supported by AI, providing activities that the student have to work on. If the student have difficulties, they can use AI to find out what's the best way of doing things. And we tell students they should not ask the answer to the AI, but how to reason to reach to the correct answer. So the key benefits as a lecturer in such a class, the lecturer will gain 1 to 2 hours, because no lecturing is to take students through higher order thinking, ensure equity through offline materials, and support diverse learning needs because students don't learn the same way. Next. Good. So learning outcomes internalization. So this is very important. There is assessment shift. You realize that in a traditional way, you have 300 students. This is in higher education. You have to teach them, you have to give them activity, you have to give them feedback, and that really becomes a very big challenge. So most of the time you realize that when it comes to assessment, is more on summative assessment. And you realize that the formative assessment is neglected because of the issue of time. So AI can enable adaptive assessment by helping students to try what they can achieve. If they fail, it uses the personalization by linking the student to other materials that will help them to be able to do the activities that they felt earlier. So we have also we are trying to tell students that they have to preserve essential skills, and that this is very important. Students to understand that critical thinking cannot come from support from AI. The student have to be the one to think. And the creative problem solving, students have to solve the problems themselves, but they can ask AI to check what they've done and to provide the insight about the solution. Independent reasoning, they should not ask AI all the time what they should think about, and the students have to learn how to do reflective processes, because without reflecting, a student actually won't be able to learn. Okay, next slide.
Professor Maurice, you just have 1 minute left.
Okay,
Maybe
no,
a bit
I'm
more
done
if you need
already.
it.
So yeah,
Okay.
so this other one is very important. We help students to develop, to build competencies, to transform the pedagogy by using AI, also to measure the impact. You know that AI has a huge capabilities really to review what is happening in the classroom by analyzing the data and interpreting the data very well. So if you have time, you may access this link. You will see the kind of courses we developed for students to learn how to utilize AI. Quickly go to the last two slides. You can go to the second line, the third last and the second last. Quickly, just to talk about the data, what is happening actually after running trainings for our academics, and what was their views before, and what they actually, what is happening after the training. So what I can see in 2024, we organized a survey that showed that really lecturers, they don't trust AI. They don't trust the output, etc. But they didn't know that the output is correct if you provided a proper input, which is the prompt. So you will see that the data showed that really they didn't trust a lot. Now, after going the course, they realized that no, this technology is very important. The secret is to know how to interact with that tool, and now they are very comfortable, and we are also pushing from the student side so that they can utilize this technology in their favor. Thank you very much.
Professor Nkosi, thank you. Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. That was really, really interesting. And we learned a bit about the challenges and the possibilities, the future, some of the ethical considerations as well, whether we should, how to use it. Very interesting presentation. I hope that people are asking questions in the chat box. So now I would like to call on Professor Lindelani Munguni, but I don't know if she's here yet. I don't see her name. Professor Lindelani Munguni, if you're here from the University of Pretoria, could you raise your hand so we can call on you? Professor Lindelani? So maybe what we should do is move on. We'll skip this presentation and we'll go to the next one, which is a joint one from Botswana Open University. And then if the professor is able to join us, we can return back to her slides. So let me take a second for the slides to move to the next presentation. All right. Thank you very much for the slides. It's now my pleasure to introduce two professors from Botswana Open University, Professor Gobola Gade, Ade Kanbi, and Professor Friesen Kaniwa. I hope I didn't say your names too off, but we are going to hear about a case study from the Botswana Open University. Please, over to you, professors. We're eager to hear from you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Marian. And thank you all, and good morning, afternoon, and whatever time it is. We're presenting a case study here on digitalization AI in Botswana's higher education, of course, doing a case study of Botswana Open University. It's, of course, part of the exploratory work that's, I think has been talked about here. And I think what makes our case very important is the fact that we're a very young university established in 2017. We are rapidly positioning ourselves as a force to be reckoned with in terms of online learning. And the lessons we have, we believe, will have implications for public ODL institutions who are trying to leverage AI to address persistent challenges of access, equity, and of course, quality. Of course, in terms of the motivation for this, perhaps to say that COVID-19, when it struck, it exposed a lot of vulnerabilities. 1.6 billion students globally affected. And of course, the response from BOE in terms of digitalization was immediate. We had seen in what we had originally that the traditional ODL that we were using had inherent challenges, which needed to be addressed. And that's the use of technology will create flexibilities and necessary resilience that we will need to utilize. And of course, so that's what we went into. And we're asking ourselves, can it be AI be strategically deployed? Can it help ODL institutions to overcome the kind of inherent challenges that we talk about? What about the issues of ethics? Can it be done ethically? Is it sustainable? And so we do offer some kind of evidence from the work that we've been involved in here. Of course, in terms of the national context, Botswana, well, it's a large country the size of France, but a small country in terms of population. And so on the basis of that, we do know that it's a country, of course, that has a mobile cellular phone penetration of up to 160%. I think as far back as 2018, we were reporting that you had 141 mobile phones for every 100 people. And I think that has increased to 160 for every 100 people. And there are even publications talking about 172 for every 100 people within Botswana. I think 2.8% of the gross domestic product, GDP, was spent on ICT in Botswana in 2021 alone. And of course, there's been quite a lot of work done in terms of that. For instance, 9% of the GDP goes to education, which demonstrates a lot of serious commitment on the part of government here. So that's the platform within which we operate. Within government, there's a lot in terms of e-legislation, e-commerce, and e-health policies. And quite a lot, is happening in that regard. The Human Resource Development Council, that is, major here, is making a fundamental shift, trying to move education for employment to education for job creation, research, and innovation. So these are things that are influencing the kind of thing that we expected, to have. But that takes us to the Botswana. Youth unemployment is quite high at 38.2%. And of course, beyond that is just to say, I think national literacy, we're not doing badly. The world national literacy rate, for 2023 was 87%, and Botswana is also 87%. So we're not doing badly in that particular one. But of course, when you look at Vision 2036, which serves as a platform for what we do here, the expectation is that we should have an educated, informed nation. But of course, having said that, we also know that the skills mismatch is driving graduate unemployment, and that means there is the need to do something about that. But let me quickly talk a bit about Botswana Open University a little further. When you look at the next slide, yeah, that's the slide. Well, I said earlier at the beginning that this was established in 2017, and with distance learning coming in, very, very strongly. And our use originally was that of the traditional ODL, but a lot, was changing with respect to our coming to become a university. We came up with a strategic framework, that recognized that we would like to be a global university by 2036. 2019 to 2023, we plan to be a technology-enhanced open university. 2023 to 2028 to be an inclusive open university. And this and some other policies, I think, have been guiding, the work that we do. Our goal is to democratize access to higher education, to break down geographical barriers, to engage in distributed delivery, flexible scheduling, and so on and so forth, and meet the needs of out-of-school youth and, of course, working adults. And we do have 5 schools. That is the schools that's business, social sciences, science and technology, education, and of course, graduate studies. And as I said, our geographical reach extend beyond Gaborone itself. We do have centers in Francistown, Palapye, Maun, and of course, we have centers in Caen, so that we have, localized support for our students. Currently, we have 24 programs. At the time of publishing this particular document, there were 20 programs. We do have about 4 more. More of our students are female because it's 1.3% of them, that's female, which is quite noteworthy in terms of what we're doing concerning gender. And we graduated in November, 1,479 students. And we rely on as many as 1,200 part-time tutors, and which, of course, is a double-edged sword because you're talking about scale and flexibility, issues of quality assurance, and the likes. I wouldn't like to go into the names of all the programs because I know our time is limited, and there is more that we really want to talk about with respect to the phases of transformation, evolution that we'll be involved in, our current digital infrastructure ecosystem, AI integration, and of course, issues of innovation, flexible hybrid learning mode, the use of module, and so on and so forth. And at this point in time, I would like to call on Dr. Kaniwa to please step in and go on to the next set of slides before I come back again. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Prof. And through the chair, this is Dr. Kaniwa. I am the HOD, the Department of Computing and Information Systems. I'm just going to pick up from where Prof has ended. So he has since spoke to the phases which we went through in terms of the digitalization. I hope you were able to capture that there were 4 phases, which started off with the traditional ODL phase, where we were having some postal service to reach our students, and then we had our portal, like a learning management system, which was now used to put all the learning content for students to access. Because as mentioned in the introduction, that our university is an ODL university, online and distance learning institution, which means that we don't have our students on campus. The students access our content at those areas where they are remotely. So as far as the learning management system goes, we then had the COVID-19 around 2020, 2021, which came through, and then we were forced to now have our lectures online. And then it acted as a catalyst, as mentioned by other speakers, that we had to fast track the digitalization, and then we managed to sail through because of the mode of delivery which we're already having. And then eventually now, talking of the AI, which came about also just 2022, we are now in that current phase where we are trying to fuse in AI technologies to improve how we deliver. So here on the screen, you can see that we are just trying to show the digital infrastructure in terms of our institution, that everything is centered around our learning management system, which is Moodle. We have e-learning tools for content delivery assessments and for communication. We have digital libraries. We also have student support, which they send their queries, be it technical queries or administrative queries. Then we also have our innovation of a Bow mobile app, which also did a paper on that, which offers offline capability. Because one thing which is true to what we do and in terms of our student profile is that our student profiles also reside in the remote parts of our country. And therefore, access to these materials is also sometimes challenging, because as much as we are going through digitalization, we don't want to infuse digital divide. So we are cognizant of that fact. That's why we are also at the same time coming up with innovative solutions to make sure that there is inclusivity with all the students involved. Then we also have our ITS system, which is also a student management system, which is connected to our learning management system. Then we are also trying different specialized systems. For example, we have ethics clearance system for people who are conducting studies in Botswana Open University. They have to apply online. This was also done manually, and we also have a chatbot in AI, which also helps people in terms of customer service, the researchers, as well as the e-counseling system. I think we can proceed to the next slide. Yeah, so this is the phase, the 4th phase we are currently in. And as I've mentioned in the previous slide, that we are intentionally trying to fuse in a lot of AI component because we have seen its benefits as previous speakers have been talking about these. So we already have an AI chatbot, which we are currently piloting. And this is also the fact that our students are not on campus, and therefore it means the way we support them is through technology or at a distance. And we have also started to pilot automated assessments through our Moodle portal, which also has some plugins since it's an open source platform. And it also comes with predictive analytics, which allows us to gauge if students are inactive or active on our portal. Because one problem which we face in ODLA is that it's easier for other students to lag behind without keeping an eye on them. So this is also very crucial for us. Then the generative AI is also coming through for content creation, which our educators, the tutors and staff, they've started to explore using it. And I think it's more or less accelerating the production in terms of how we create content, how we create assessments and so forth. Of course, we take note of the shortcomings of AI, such as hallucination, which we are very much aware of. And we are also experimenting on the area of academic integrity, which I'll talk more in a moment in the challenges section. Then the one for the mobile access, I think I've talked about it, of the mobile app. So we can move to the next slide. Yeah, so this slide also is just for appreciation to colleagues that here we explore the different modes of learning, and therefore we call them flexible hybrid learning, because we use a mixture of asynchronous and synchronous learning whilst we apply the Bloom's taxonomy of low order and high order. Let's move to the other slide. Yeah, so as a way of capacity building in BOW, where we are, we have adopted a dual focus strategy. I think from what other presenters have mentioned, we have noticed that there is a lag between the staff and the students. You find that a professor or a lecturer is a little bit behind in terms of adoption of AI, whereas students are already, because they are tech savvy, they are already ahead of them. So we try to put these two at the same level by making sure that we continue to do capacity building, we continue to do some workshops and so forth. We can proceed. Yeah, so here, these are the challenges we see, which are more like posing as an obstacle to our AI integration. So generally, with ODL institutions, these are resource-constrained environments versus the number of students which we support, and versus the kind of activities which also happen unlike a traditional institution, because we even more like coin our way of doing things almost like quasi-industrial, because there are many other activities which are done in ODL which are not common in traditional setup. So the one which has already been alluded to by Dr. Warden during the opening in terms of the survey, I think it's very, very common here. It comes through that there is infrastructure limitations here, that the internet connectivity is a challenge, power cuts remain a challenge, and there is also relatively high cost of data for students to be able to access, students and staff to be able to access AI or any content which is in a digital repository. Then the digital literacy gaps, I have also alluded to this when I talked about the lag between, for example, the staff and the student, which we continue to notice, and they also pose a challenge in terms of how the teaching should happen. Then the financial sustainability also brings a bit of a problem, because if I can quickly talk to this to say that we have a data protection regulation which has just been approved just a year back, the Data Protection Act. So the challenge with that is that if we want to adopt AI tools, it means at some point we have to put data probably staff data, student data, which is not allowed. So there is a catch there that you are not able to use that data to take advantage of the AI because you are sharing with a third party as you do that. So it means now we look inside for an in-house solution where we have to come up with also our AI tools, which are contextualized, which don't have algorithmic bias and so forth. And then the financial sustainability here comes in as a challenge. Yeah, the academic integrity, I think colleagues here will agree with me that I think as educators, this is the biggest challenge we continue to face as far as AI is concerned. Yes, we still want our students to use AI, but we don't want it to rob their learning process, that critical analytical component which we want to develop. So we are trying to hit a balance to say when they hit the industry, they still need to have AI skills at the same time. But at the same time, they also need to appreciate to apply themselves. So we are seeing challenges because students are using AI to submit their work, and also unfortunately the current plagiarism detection softwares, they are not able to pick it up. In fact, it's not conclusive. It's just if I can give an example for Turnitin, it's just more like his suspected AI usage, which is not conclusive. Then lastly, there's the cultural resistance. I think AI, when it came through even up to today, there's still that resistance when it comes to AI. So that also poses as a challenge. We can proceed.
Sorry, Professor, could you wrap up in 1 minute?
Okay. Let me just hand over to Professor Kambe to do the conclusion, which wraps up everything. I think you can move towards the end of the slides, then you pick it up from there.
Just slide 14. Yeah, thank you. Well, just to say that we do have some limitations. You can move on still. We do have some limitations regarding the study. It's a single institution's case study. The use of AI, relatively recent here for us. The issues of, in terms of quantitative data on outcomes and the likes, attributable to AI interventions, I think we have what you say is limited. And the AI itself technology is evolving, rapidly, so things are changing fast. Student experience and voice may not have been represented fully in what we have shared. And of course, findings are based on analysis of the documentation and policy frameworks, stakeholder perspectives that we do have. But having said that, we do know that in concluding, you can move on to the last slide, just to say that what we have shared, I believe, demonstrates that AI integration is feasible in resource-constrained context. And of course, having said that, also to say that a phased approach would be preferable. And of course, there has to be investment in infrastructure. We do know that AI is an enabler, it's not a solution, and that human-centered pedagogy, of course, remains quite essential. And we believe BOE is being positioned as an emerging regional model for AI-enhanced open and distance learning. Thank you very much. Yeah,
thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, professors. Thank you very much, Professors Adekambi and Professor Kaniva of Botswana Open University for giving us a very, I think, a very interesting discussion on AI and some of the challenges of using it. And I think that it's coming in with some questions from the audience now, from the participants. We're going to now shift to, let me first check if we have our last speaker with us. We had to skip over Professor Lindelani before, but have you joined us? I don't think so, but let me check. Professor Lindelani, are you with us at all? I don't think so. So now we're going to shift to the question and answer session. So we'll be spending about 30 minutes on the question and answer, and we hope this becomes a discussion that you can contribute towards. So we have sent some questions already to Mr. Dr. Temechin and Gida. So Dr. Temechin, over to you for the question and answer. And I hope that you have seen the questions. Do you feel ready to go?
Yes, Marianne, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. I have collected some 20 questions, and how shall I go about them, Marianne? Shall I read all so that everybody, the speakers can trace, or for instance, the first three are from for Bolale. Is it number one? Is it possible for an institution that is not a member of PAVEU to request certain online courses? This is asked by Dolum. And how can we in Cote d'Ivoire benefit from the experience of Pan-African University? This is from Dr. Quatara. And third, which PhD programs do you offer at PAVEU? Is it fully online with on-campus? How much is the tuition fee for PhD? This is from Pascal. Then is for Quentin, Dr. Quentin. How can digital capacity building? Yep.
Sorry, Temechin. What I suggest is that we go speaker by speaker.
Okay.
So maybe you give the floor to Bolanle and then to anyone that you would like to ask questions to. Thanks.
Okay, Prof. Bolanle, for the three questions.
Thank you very much. If I get you clearly,
I can read them again.
Okay, please do. Thank you.
Number one, is it possible for an institution that is not a member of PAVEU to request certain online courses? Second,
Okay.
how can we in Cote d'Ivoire benefit from the experience of Pan-African University? Third, which PhD programs do you offer at PAVEU? Is it fully online with on-campus? How much is the tuition fee for PhD? The three questions.
Thank you very much. The first one, for now, we have not put our master's and PhD programs. We hope that by the end of 2026, we'll be able to do that. And when that happens, we'll put out a call and the candidates will be able to apply. But for now, what we are offering are developments, professional development programs, like the joint projects that we have with UNESCO ICBA for secondary school teachers and leaders, like the one we have for primary school teachers and secondary school teachers. For now, we have not put any of our regular master's and PhD programs online. We're hoping that that's our strategic plan for 2026 upwards, and we're working towards this. And when this is done, we will make a call and people will be able to apply. We're hoping that we'll be able to graduate more students, graduates for that. We do not have any PhD program online. Our PhD programs are still campus-based. So traditionally, we do not have any online, but like I said, we hope that we'll be able to do that soon. For the experience in Côte d'Ivoire, we have students from all over Africa as our students at the 4 campuses of PAU. What happens is that we put out a call. Our courses are sponsored, and if you're successful, you will be shortlisted, you'll be called, and you'll be admitted into our programs. That's what happens for now. But we are hoping that with the PAVEU, we'll be able to open up and admit more students. Once again, thank you very much for your interest in the Pan-African University. I hope I've been able to answer these questions.
Thank you, Prof. Bolanle. Just related question.
Yeah.
Related question. Is there any form of awareness to the public on postgraduate programs being run by the Pan-African University? And what is the level of students' accessibility to the program? And what time of the year do students apply for the postgraduate programs? And do you have short courses for policymakers?
Okay, thank you. Once again, we put out calls for admission. And because of the way our institutes or our campuses are structured, they are in different parts of the region. So the calls don't follow each other. For example, this year we have calls for only our institutes in Nigeria and in Cameroon. The institutes in Kenya and Algeria are not admitting because of the structural differences. But when this happens, we'll always put out a call. Be on the lookout on our website. Just if you put Pan-African University, you will be able to reach us. And the courses, like I said, are sponsored. They are scholarship-based. So when you get admitted, you will be given a scholarship to undergo your study. We have, I think somebody had asked what courses we have in JKUT, in Nairobi. Our courses, the idea is that we have courses in our institutes that are designed to solve problems of Africa. They're not the traditional courses you have in many of the universities around. So, for example, in Cameroon here at the University of Yaoundé, where we have the Pan-African University for governance, social sciences, and humanity. We have a program right now where we have a PhD program and a master's program in governance and regional integration. We also have a master's program in translation and border relations. Then we are hoping that in this institute we'll be able to start a PhD and a master's program in human rights. And these are programs we are hoping we'll be able to load on the Pavul platform very soon. Just be on the lookout. You will get it from our website. And we also use our partners to circulate when we have any information for the public. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quentin, I think there is one question to you. How can digital capacity building initiatives such as ICBA's strategic plan and e-learning platforms help overcome the constraints highlighted in the CESA surveys, particularly regarding the lack of infrastructure and technical support in African higher education institutions? This was posted by Rabab. Over to you, Quentin.
Right. So I think there are two answers on our side at UNESCO ICBA. The first answer is that we benefit from support from donors, especially the government of Japan, to implement projects in selected countries. And many of those projects include a strong infrastructure component. So, for example, we have a project on girls' education and strengthening teacher training institutions, and 1/3 of the funding actually goes to equipment to better to improve the infrastructure, the e-learning infrastructure in teacher training institutions in 5 countries. So that's the first answer. So when we can provide this kind of support. The second answer is that regarding the e-learning platform, this is something we started about 3 years ago. We had a platform, but it was still very limited. And so we have started to provide more e-learning courses. So those are asynchronous. Anybody can go on the platform and can take a course. And then you get a certificate of completion if you pass the test at the end of the course. Right now, we have a dozen of those, and we are expanding that. We are very happy to work together with ministries of education, teacher service commissions, or teacher councils to make that available to you. And if you're a ministry of education and you need, for example, to have one of our courses on your platform, that's fine. I mean, all of those e-learning courses are free, so anybody can take them. There is no cost at all for nobody. And if you feel they are useful to you, you contact us, and we can give you the information on how to use them. I mean, Bolanle just talked, but one of the projects we have is with the Pan-African University. And there, it's a battery of e-learning courses that we are providing. And then the teachers or others who are interested, who take a minimum of about 8-10 courses, then get a joint certificate from the Pan-African University and IGBA. And that is a little bit more ambitious, right? It's not something for each course, but it is taking a battery of course, and then getting that certificate. So we are happy to work with you. I mean, expanding e-learning resources is a priority. The next webinar in this series is actually on e-learning resources and courses that are available from us, but also from others. We know this is very, very important. And the last thing I would say is that we are well aware that not everybody has access to the internet. And so many of the projects that we implement include a learning management system that works without access to the internet, essentially. I mean, I won't go into the technical details, but the idea is to try to make all of this available to a larger number of teachers, school leaders, and others interested in those issues. Temechen, back to you.
Just a new question to you. How can you be contacted for the courses?
All right. I will put in the chat the general email address for IGBA. So you send us an email, and then we can give you the links. And Temechen, maybe you can also put in the chat the link to the e-learning platform. We are still developing it, but you have a number of courses, including some that Temechen actually designed, which are available there. But I will put the email address for IGBA in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maurice, there is one question for you. With your experiencing interacting with the students, is AI facilitating knowledge application? This was posed by Musa. Maurice. Is Maurice there?
Professor Maurice Nkosi, are you still with us?
Okay. In the meantime, let's go to the Botswana. The Botswana colleagues, how did you manage the professional integrity and cognitive laziness in using AI for course offering? This is by Dereje, I think, from Ethiopia. And the second one is, with our era, where most young people like navigating social media, how do we align the use of social media abuse with our modern digital learning among young adults? That is from Adama. And the third question is, it was posed in French, but when I translate it, are there any contacts through which we can reach the University of Botswana to share experiences? Back to any one of you from Botswana. Prof. Glo
Yes.
Gubon.
Okay. Let me respond to one or two of them, and then Dr. Kaniwa will come in. With respect to contacting now to reach us, I think on the chat board, Dr. Kaniwa has provided our email addresses, but I can still share. I think it's fkaniwa@staff.bou.ac.bw. And then for myself, it's g@adekombi@staff.bou.ac.bw. Sorry, let me just do that properly. That's G_GA. All right. So that's in terms of reaching us, ACWW. Now, in terms of the youth, you will notice that we did indicate that I think we do have a high percentage of youth within the nation. But I must also say that in terms of our studentship, many of our students themselves are workers and adults within their various sectors. We've opened up, the avenue for admissions into quite a number of our programs, whereby some of the youth directly from secondary school are able to join a number of the programs at the moment. So concerning the use of social media has been used so far as a way of communicating both with the students and the students also getting back to us. In fact, sometimes you do get a lot of evaluation in terms of our activities and the likes through social media, from the students, Facebook, Instagram, and so on and so forth. So that happens even our graduation ceremonies, especially when we do it online. We utilize the social media for that. But I will ask Dr. Kaniwa to add to this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Prof. I'm not sure if I understood the questions, but I'm just going to respond the way I got them, and probably then I would have answered them. But I just wanted to say that we have noticed that the current crop of our learners are different from the ones we used to have before. We noticed that these ones, they actually easily get bored, and therefore it makes it difficult for you to teach them with something engaging. So we noticed that some new approaches, such as gamification, they help to improve the student engagement. And we also noticed that, for instance, on our learning management system, we try to use things like forums, which are similar to the social media platforms in terms of posting, and we don't penalize for posting like a wrong answer. We just want to improve the engagement in the content which we'll be trying to put across. So those are some of the things we continue to do with them. I think I also saw a question. For us, I think we also take advantage of what we have found on the ground, like issues of mobile penetration that we notice that is high, and therefore we also try to use that as an advantage as well. That's why we continue to also have applications which also can take advantage of that. And also our campuses, like have been mentioned, they are also strategically located across the country, such that if there's connectivity challenge, they can visit their nearest campus in their region. Yeah, I think that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you. A newly arrived question to Botswana professors. How can we effectively promote AI usage in resource-limited education institutions or environments?
Okay, I could take that.
Please.
Yeah, so I think this is a very good question, because I think it's a challenge which cuts across a lot of countries in terms of resource constrained environments. So one thing we are trying to do as a university is that we have a paper we published which was publishing a model of, we call it offline first architecture, which tries to make sure that the experience of accessing the digital content doesn't rely largely on the internet. So whenever there's an internet connection, it tries to download all the content, be it to their mobile phone or to their laptop at that point. And if the connectivity is lost, it means they are still able to browse more like in a seamless manner as if the internet is available, and they can still work offline if they want to do a bit of some work on that platform. Then once the internet comes back, it then synchronizes the content they have done to upload, and then it goes like that. So that's also one thing we are continuing to do as far as the internet is concerned. And of course, we are still exploring ways of trying to make sure that there's no that digital divide as far as AI is concerned. And it's some of those things we were trying to share in terms of algorithmic bias and trying to develop our own AI tool within the institution, which will be used by students, because we have noticed that we also should also not just be consumers in Africa of AI. We should also contribute also to AI, especially when it comes to issues of language, because we notice that AI can easily translate to the local languages easily to those who are in other parts of the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quentin, there is one more question to you on TVET. How would you improve the technical and vocational education in training?
Sorry, yes. So I think that broadly speaking, right, what we need to do in terms of providing e-learning opportunities is not that different, whether you consider general education or TVET. I mentioned in the chat that we currently have one project. This is for Ethiopia. Again, thanks to the government of Japan, to provide e-learning opportunities for teachers in TVET and of course, for learners as well. In the case of Ethiopia, what's interesting is that the normal TVET system is post-secondary. You have, for example, the TVET Institute that provides training for teachers who will then teach at the post-secondary level in TVET colleges. But there is also an effort by the Federal Ministry of Education to start mainstreaming TVET in the general secondary education track. This is a recognition of the importance of having some of those skills for teachers and especially for students, especially if the students do not have the opportunity to go to higher education. And so the project we have right now is to help design a series of online courses related to the topics that the ministry cares about. These are in large part STEM topics, but there are a few others. So those courses are almost complete. We are going to test them in the next few months with the ministry as part of the general secondary track. And of course, we'll make also everything available more broadly online on the IGBA platform. The one thing I would like to mention again, because there are lots of questions related to e-learning opportunities. So the next webinar in this series that will be in about a month, and you will get a reminder if you signed up for the 3 webinars. The next webinar is going to be about e-learning opportunities. So not only what we do at IGBA, but what is available elsewhere. And so I encourage you to come and you will be able to be introduced to a wide range of resources that you can use. And of course, we'll emphasize what is free to use when there is no cost at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know this last question. could be to anyone who spoke on AI. What advice do you have for universities struggling with digitalization of courses to integrate AI in the teaching learning processes? Anyone interested can take up that one.
Well, I'll say one thing, Temechan, right? This is a bit broader as an answer, but Temechan knows because he's working a lot on that, is that we have what we call a Deans of Education Forum. So it's actually called the China-Africa Deans of Education Forum. And we have had about 24 deans from schools of education in Africa participate so far, and the same on the China side. And we will actually expand this a bit broader. And so I think that one of the practical services that this forum could provide is indeed guidance to universities on what they can do to digitalize and to use AI. I should say that there is a lot of work also in other parts of UNESCO on this. And what we can make sure is that when we send the summary of this webinar, we include some of those resources that are available from UNESCO. I mean, you will have a few that are mentioned in the study. I've put the link to the study or the IGBA studies, which includes that study on the chat. I'll put it again. But there's a lot of interest in this. I mean, today we are about 400. We are close to 400, but 1,600 people registered, and we know that often people registered and cannot come. But so we'll share the information with everybody. This is a topic that is very, very important, that many people care about in Africa and elsewhere. And so we can try our best to make resources available to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. By the way, there was also another question to Bolale. Do you have short courses on artificial intelligence at Pavio?
Thank you, Temechan. Not for now. Not for now. The only institute that is offering artificial intelligence is the PAUSTI in Nairobi, and it's not online yet. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think there is some minutes left, and one question from Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire. Today, with the widespread adoption of smartphones, by the way, sorry if I mistranslated it, because when the questions are on French, I use Google Translate. With the widespread adoption of smartphones and Android phones, it's fair to say that users of these devices are making an effort to connect to the internet. In academic setting, how could we leverage this knowledge to introduce the teaching of artificial intelligence? This is from Drissa, Côte d'Ivoire. Prof from Botswana, any one of you?
Yeah, I think, I mean, when you, just what you have just said in terms of leveraging, it presupposes that because we do have the smartphones and the likes, there's a sense in which there's already an opportunity there for us to be able to utilize that. Of course, what we probably can add is that maybe at the moment, when you consider the kind of presentation that, Maurice has made, I believe there's a lot that, we can learn from there in terms of relevant applications. But definitely, the same way that we are now veering towards, using these smartphones for pedagogical purposes in our various contexts, and even for social sharing of information and the likes. I believe in the same way we can use those smartphones. Well, the platforms will need to also be there. For example, I know that in Botswana, I think just about a year or two ago, government was able to, for 1,138 facilities in 142 villages, were able to to connect them. And there is also a lot that is happening with respect to schools and the connections. At the Botswana Open University, there is even a study that is going on now, which I think is supported by the Finnish National Agency for Education, EDUFI, where EDUFI...
I thought it is...
Sorry?
Okay. Okay. I thought it is... Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying that there's a project going on which is specifically geared to promoting professional learning communities in Gaborone primary schools with the aim of using smartphones to prepare the teachers to be able to relate with the students in a better way so that they can improve their standard 4 mathematics. So I'm just saying that, yes, definitely smartphones can be utilized. Of course, it will require the necessary awareness. And but in terms of the skills and the likes, I believe the teaching can be made. Dr. Kaniwa, I think you've also developed a course, isn't it, Dr. Kaniwa? Or you are developing one geared towards, teaching this? I don't know whether Dr. Kaniwa will want to add to that.
Yeah,
that the use of AI. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, just quickly to say that we have a short course in AI, which is called AI Basics for non-technical professionals. It's meant to encompass all the elements of AI, especially for people who are non-technical. So issues like the myths of AI, demystifying how AI works, and all the other concepts of human-centered AI and so forth. So I think I'll also share the details here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Maurice, you were not there when I mentioned your name. There is 1 or 2 questions. With your experiencing interaction with students, is AI facilitating knowledge application? That is from Musa. And the second question, which could be to you as well as to the Botswana colleagues, is most schools and institutions in African countries lack constant internet and AI technologies. And yet it is very essential for today's learning and teaching. What should be done in order for such schools and institutions, especially in my country, Uganda, access AI services as well? Back to you, Maurice. You are muted. Maurice, you are muted. I think he cannot open his...
Okay, maybe I can just quickly come in before Maurice comes back.
Okay.
Is it okay? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes. I think we can make use of public-private partnerships. Let me say that in Botswana here, Mascom is one of the providers of telephone facilities through the cellular network and the likes. And they partnered with the Ministry of Communications, Science and Technology then to build 110 Mascom Kids Song Centers. And the goal, and these were built in the rural areas. And the goal of that was to ensure that individuals can walk into any of these centers and utilize the internet facilities that are there. As I'm speaking, there is Smart Botswana that up to 7 schools for them to be able to, utilize access and stuff. There's a Learning Passport project, which many of our students within Botswana have been part of. So you have all these things. Beyond that, at the University of Botswana and within the other universities that you have here, BUSed, Botswana University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, and of course, the University of Botswana, you do have databases of different organizations that's accessible to many of our students and others who come into those libraries. We create library tools and guides, for them. So quite a lot, I think, is happening at this point. I mean, in addition to the policies that government is also coming up with, e-commerce, e-legislation, e-health policies, and so on and so forth, just opening up the atmosphere and the avenue for greater participation of individuals in technology-oriented activities, and in particular to ensure that we're connected. Even the growth of learning cities, to which we are expecting Botswana to also be part of. These are all opportunities to ensure that we're connected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. From ICPA's point of view, through the support of the Japanese government, we are piloting in 6 African countries what we call edge computing. And this edge computing provides offline access when the internet is not there. And it can also work with local SIM cards, and it can effectively connect everybody to the internet. Maurice.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Sorry, I was muted. I couldn't unmute myself. So I agree with what Bologade said. I don't want to repeat what he said, but something very important to remember is AI is a very, very powerful tool if it's well used. So there are 3 things that users should consider, both students and lecturers. There is first one, the first skill is about how to interact with AI. We call it skills communicating with the tool. Secondly, there is an aspect that is very, very critical that really, in some instances, that's what we start with which is about ethical consideration. Because AI can completely transform students into zombies. I'm sorry to use that word, but it can transform the brain of the student to remain in the dormant status. Why? Because the student will be using AI even to find out if it's time to drink tea. So I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this tool may be very dangerous for students if they are not really trained on how to use it, and the student to understand the danger. But something that's very important that really encourage educators really to focus and to invest their time in AI is when AI is a learning partner for a student. So we train students, even lecturers, not to ask answers of the questions that they have, but they should ask AI, how can I reach a point where I can be able to do A, B, C, D? Or you tell AI, before you show me your answer, please show me your reasoning. So that will help the students, even the lecturer sometimes, if it's something for professional development, etc., to understand that AI may be both a tool that can be of a big disadvantage, but is also a tool with a lot of opportunities. So there were a question about, is there some courses available? Yes, I shared the link in my presentation showing a course that we developed for students, and that course is offline. Because we realize that students have access to internet when they're on campus, but when they go home, so they have to use their own data, which I think you have noticed that in Africa, buying data for internet is really extremely expensive. And the courses today, they have this videos, audios, simulations, all those things really consume a lot of data. And something maybe we'll get an opportunity to show our colleagues how you can transform the entire course into offline. And the quality is exactly the same as the one online. And the AI is playing a big, big role to do so. So this is what I wanted to say. But AI is helping us to reach certain level that we were not able to reach a few years ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marianne, back to you. Or Dereja is asking about e-learning courses challenges in the development of e-learning courses. But I suggest that you join us next in a month's time, since our webinar is specifically on e-learning course. Marianne, over to you.
Right. Right, exactly, Dr. Temechin. Thank you for handling that question. Indeed, we hope that everyone here can join back for the next session in 1 month. We will be delving into more topics in digital learning, including on e-courses. But thank you, Temechin, for the rich discussion. The responses were all quite well informed, and I wish we had even more time. As you can see, this was a very well attended webinar. A lot of questions in the chat box. It's impossible to get to all of them, so please, we continue the conversation at the next session in 1 month's time. I will be putting some links in the chat box to our resources, such as the Africa Education Knowledge Platform, and also a repeat of the messages that the webinar's presentations will be shared. And now I want to turn it over to Dr. Quentin Worden, our director at ICFA, for the closing. Thank you.
Quentin, just 1 point. Muhammad Bashir is asking you, in Somalia higher education, how would you evaluate their digitalization level? So together with closing, try to answer that question.
I don't think I know enough about Somalia, right? But you can send me an email or to ICBA at the email address I put in the chat, info.icba@unesco.org, and we can see what we can do together. Somalia is part of what we call the KICS Africa 19 hub, where we have a South Exchange platform, and maybe something could be done, but we have to think about it carefully. So I want to thank everybody for joining today. I mean, we were at about 400 people at some point, and 1,600 people registered. So we know this is a topic that is of high interest. I'm not going to try to summarize the discussion, as we have said a few times. This is part of a 3-webinar series. The second one is going to be about e-learning resources, and the third one about measuring digital skills. I want to thank again the sponsors for this webinar series: African Union, AFTRA, GPE, KICS, and the European Union Regional Teacher Initiative for Africa. And I want to thank again our colleagues at UNESCO Achai in China for doing this study on the digitalization and AI in higher education. The study is available online. You have the link. It's a very, very first step for us, but we hope that you will find the case study useful. And thanks again to all the presenters today. So thank you. We hope to see you again in 1 month. And Marianne, anything else, or that's it?
There's a link in the chat box for a survey. If you can take the survey, give us your feedback.
If Camelia or Marianne has put it back, this helps us actually to figure out how to do those webinars, how to improve them. So if you have just 5 minutes, it's just 2 or 3 questions, I think. Please answer the questions in the survey. Can you put it back, Marianne, so that those who are still here can see it? Because I don't see. All right, I see that Camelia has just put it. So if you go in the chat, you will see it's in English and in French. I don't think we have it in Portuguese, but typically we don't have a lot of Portuguese, or maybe we do have it, so that's wonderful. Marianne, back to you, and we can close, I think, soon. Thank you.
Nothing more from me, Quentin. Looking forward to seeing everyone back in 1 month's time. I think you've said it all. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.